everybody. Welcome to another episode of Best and Worst. This is the series that we do where we talk about one of our favorite actors or talent and talk about their best and worst film that they have done. And this week we are talking about Tom Hanks. This is very exciting. And Mr. Tom Hanks has done many, many, many wonderful films. And we've talked about a lot of them over on our podcast, the Hidden Gems podcast. And so if you like what we're talking about here in this smaller video, go check out the longer video of Hidden Gems for this week. We're talking about Disney Plus over there. And so Tom Hanks, very exciting. I am film critic Rachel Wagner, and Ryan is here.
Hey, Rachel, so great to be back with you again. And yeah, Tom Hanks, we all know who he is. He has been so awesome in so many movies. Like, you would think at a point he would reach like a certain point where he like takes a dip in quality, but even into this past year with his most recent movie, News of the World,
Yeah.
he was really good in that. So for someone who started in like the early 80s, so coming up on like 30 years or 40 years, I suck at math, so I may be
Yeah.
spitballing there. And to have a solid reputation of quality over a long career like that, it really does say something.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's done practically every genre. And he's so likable that even in movies where he's playing a little bit more of a negative character, you still are kind of rooting for him. You still like him. And I think that makes him a really interesting actor. And I mean, he's had everything from Catch Me If You Can to uh, to
Castaway.
to Saving Private Ryan, Castaway. He's won 2 Oscars: Philadelphia, Forrest Gump, Apollo 13. I mean, he's just done so many different great films.
In terms of best, we were spoiled for choice because like I mean, especially in my case, it would have been like, okay, what are we going with? Like Bridge of Spies? Won't you be a beautiful day in the neighborhood? Castaway, Forrest Gump, and the answer to all of them would have been yes. So it's like a brain melting exercise of just like God, you got to make the tough choice.
Yeah. So, what is your best of Tom Hanks?
My best of Tom Hanks, and well, it's one of the movies that you brought up, Rachel. It's Forrest Gump. And is this an obvious choice? More than likely, yes, but he won an Oscar for it. And I don't put much stock in the Oscars, but even a broken clock is right twice a day. And they were right in giving Tom Hanks the Oscar for this one. Forrest Gump, we all know what that movie is. It's about a man named Forrest Gump who goes through all these historic events. He has an IQ of 75, but despite that, just has a like the dream life. And
Yeah.
for a while, I remember enjoying this movie, but also kind of shrugging and being like, okay, I like the acting. It's got a nice story, but I'm not sure what this all means. And then for some reason, I remember reading Roger Ebert's review of this movie, and one particular quote, and I'm going to paraphrase it because I can't remember it specifically, stuck out to me. And he said, "The heart of this movie lies with Forrest Gump, a man who sees everything with no cynicism or irony and sees things exactly as he wants them to be." Again, I'm butchering it, but when I read that, I was like, oh my God, that's the movie. Because Forrest Gump, throughout his entire life, was just basically called stupid. Are you stupid or something? And he's like, stupid is as stupid does. And never understood what that meant until recently, when it was like, I may have an IQ of 75, but I know what's going on around me. And he is just a genuinely nice person. He tries to help everybody. He tries to help fellow soldiers. He tries to help Lieutenant Dan. He stays with Lieutenant Dan at the lowest point of Lieutenant Dan's life. And he tries to help Jenny at literally every turn, despite the fact that she consistently pushes him away. I'm going to do a review of this for the AFI project, so I don't want to get too deep into the weeds. But yeah, Forrest Gump is just, it's a fantastic movie. And out of a career filled with just top tier performances, this is Tom Hanks at his very best.
Yeah, I haven't seen this in a long time. And so, but I've heard from a number of people recently who've seen it, revisited it, and really enjoyed it and thought it held up better than they expected. So it's definitely one that I've thought about maybe doing for family movie night or something like that to revisit it. So long is the only hard part about it. But my best, I mean, really, Toy Story is definitely my best. The things that he does with Woody is so remarkable in his performance, and when he says, "You are a toy."
You are a toy.
He brings so
You
much in
are
that
one
vocal
sad,
performance.
strange little man.
Yeah. You have my pity. I love I think the script is really about perfect in the original Toy Story. But as far as his acting as a live action role, my favorite is You've Got Mail, and that may seem crazy to put it over Saving Private Ryan, other films like that, which he's very good in. But I love You've Got Mail. I think it's one of the most quotable movies ever made. I absolutely love Nora Ephron's script. I think it's so funny. I love the chemistry between Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. And it has such a great supporting cast. Parker Posey, it's got Dave Chappelle, hilarious. Greg Kinnear, so funny in it. I just love it, and I think he is, again, he takes a part that might be kind of unlikable. He's putting this woman's business out. He's a bad man of business in the world of Hallmark, and yet because it's Tom Hanks, we like him, and so it works very well. And his whole kind of scheme at the end to finally win her over is very sweet and enjoyable. So it's my favorite of any of his movies, if I'm honest and not just trying to look, kind of smart or whatever. It's my favorite. So let's talk about the worst of Tom Hanks. And we actually both had the same. A lot of his worst movies that you might hear, I actually haven't seen, like Bonfire of the Vanities from the 80s. I haven't seen that. So there's some other ones that you hear about from I forget what it's called. There's one where he plays a comedian with Sally Ford. It's supposed to not be very good. I haven't seen those, but what I have seen is from 2017 is The Circle, and I feel pretty confident that neither of those movies are as bad as The Circle. And he kind of doesn't give a great performance. I mean, he isn't given much to work with. He plays basically kind of the Steve Jobs kind of type of guy who's running the circle, but like his character makes no sense. I mean, most of the stuff that he's doing don't bring any kind of income for the circle. And so what is his motivation for controlling people's lives with the circle? Does he want political power? Because at one point he's trying to get people to vote using the circle. And so why, but what's his motivation for doing that? We have no idea. And he's just kind of like a, a bad guy. There's no real like, and most of the time his in the performance he's just giving presentations kind of all Steve Jobs, and to groups about the how great the circle is. It's just so bad. This movie's awful. I hate it. So it has
Yeah.
nothing interesting to say about social media or the internet or anything.
There was this movie in 2002 called The Skulls. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but it starred a very young Paul Walker, and it was essentially about this college-aged youth who joins this super fraternity called the Skulls. And they do a lot of very sketchy material. And when he tries to expose it, he gets kicked out of the group, and a lot of bad things happen. The Circle is very similar to the Skulls. I like the Skulls because that premise has been done to death, but its message is very clear. It's a commentary on like the fraternity culture and that
Mm-hmm.
kind of secret society side of things. My problem with the Circle is that I have no idea what this movie is trying to say. Is it trying to
Yeah.
be a commentary on big tech or Google, or is it trying to be like a heist movie, or is it trying to be like a suspense horror kind of movie? Like
Yeah.
what is this trying to be, a very long Black Mirror episode? Like what is the movie trying to do?
Yeah, because Emma
I
Watson's character doesn't make any sense either. Like one minute she's agreeing and working with the circle, and the next minute she's like trying to undo the circle. And her character motivation doesn't make any sense.
Poor John Boyega got dragged into this crap.
I forgot he was in that. Yeah, you're right.
Somebody cast John Boyega in a good movie. Like, have any of you seen Attack the Block? He's good in that movie. Like, some hashtag give Boyega a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like they were afraid to make it a cult, and so they just made it this like bland what I actually read the book before seeing the movie, and the book is pretty dopey, pretty stupid, but they managed to make it even stupider for this movie.
it's
And
it's been a while since I've heard dopey used as an insult, but
yeah, it's very dopey. So yeah, this is without a doubt the worst movie of Tom Hanks's career. I would defy almost anyone to deny that. So there we go. Luckily, most people I think have forgotten about it that it exists.
and even if they did, Tom Hanks did Toy Story 4 and A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, so everything is perfectly balanced as all things should be.
Certainly better than that movie, that's for sure.
In the words of the wise philosopher Thanos.
That's right. So there we go. That is our best and worst of Tom Hanks. We had the same one for worst this time around. And so let us know your picks, what you would say are the best and worst of Tom Hanks. We would love to hear it in the comments section or on Twitter. And Ryan, where can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at RyanCam20. Then there is, of course, my YouTube channel, which is called just Ryan Cam. I'd like to thank everybody for subscribing last year. 2020 was my biggest year on YouTube, and I cannot thank you all enough. And 2021 is just going to be even bigger. We're recording this on a Monday, which means the first AFI project video for 2021, all about the war comedy MASH, dropped. And then on Wednesday, I'm going to be dropping my video for the Hitchcock classic North by Northwest. And then on Sunday, I'm going to need you all to send in some prayers for me, if any of you are religious out there, because on Sunday, I'm going to be dropping my video where I review and talk about every single Michael Bay Transformer movie. Your pity is greatly accepted.
Yeah, I don't envy you that's for sure. So that'll be fun to watch. So check that out. Make sure y'all subscribe to Ryan's channel. It's really good stuff. So, and you can make sure to like this video. Please subscribe. Check out our Hidden Gems episode. We would really appreciate that. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. And then also make sure to check out the Hallmarkies podcast. Lots of good stuff going on there this week. And we are starting into covering the New Year's new movies. So that'll be fun. And don't forget to sign up for our Patreon. That's gonna have some really good stuff coming up. We'll also have our merch store, which has some really cool designs. Please check that out. And thank you so much. And we'll talk to y'all later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.